What's up, YouTube? I'm here to do my prediction video for UFC Fight Night Machida versus Brunson. First fight on the card is Christian Colombo versus Marco Golem. And Marco looks like a really good striker. I think Christian's a little older. His ground game's a little weaker. But I think overall, I think Christian's the better striker. And I think that if he can keep this standing, he should be able to win. I think people underestimate Christian a lot just because of his age, but I feel like he's a really good striker, and I think that this fight will be a striking fight, and I think Christian's going to win by knockout or TKO. Next is Deiveson Fernando versus Jared Brooks. And Deiveson is really good. He's got really good striking, really good jiu-jitsu. His biggest weakness is his takedown defense. You know, he trains with Yuri and Yuri's brother, and I feel like that's what those guys' MO is. They have really good striking, really good jiu-jitsu, but their takedown defense isn't that great. I think Jared Brooks is primarily a wrestler, so he probably will win this fight. You know, I want to pick Deiveson just because I like Deiveson. I think he's a really exciting fighter, but I have a hard time picking him because I think Jared Brooks will just be able to hit takedowns whenever he wants and just grind out a decision. So I'm going to go with the logical choice and just go with Jared Brooks and say he wins an easy decision. Next is Eloise Santos versus Max Griffin. And to me, Santos is really good, but I mean, I feel like he's been really lucky. I feel like he's 3-1 in the UFC, and you could easily argue that he's 1-3 in the UFC. I mean, even that one fight that he won by knockout, you could argue that if he didn't get that knockout when he did, he could have lost that fight. I feel like he's gotten some really fucking favorable judging in the past, and I still don't feel like his takedown defense and his ability to get back up they're good, but I don't know how great they're going to be against the really, really good wrestlers in this division. And I feel like Max Griffin's one of those guys. He's got really good wrestling. He's a solid up-and-comer, and I think he'll be able to hit the takedowns and just hold Santos down and win a decision. Next is Hackman Diaz versus Jared Gordon, and to me, this is pretty simple. Jared Gordon can keep this fight standing. He'll win easy, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think moving up a weight class is going to be good for Hackman. I think he's going to be able to hit the takedowns when he wants. And he's just going to be able to stay on top of him and win a decision. Next is Antonio Carlos Jr. versus Jack Marshman. And Jack Marshman's really good. I feel like he's got underrated ground game. It's obviously nowhere near Antonio Carlos Jr.'s level, but I think he's got a huge advantage striking. And I think that all he needs to do on the ground is survive. I think his conditioning's a lot better than Junior's is, and I also think his striking's way better. I think that if he can, stuff those early takedowns, I think he's going to get a late knockout like he did in his UFC debut. And that's just what I see happening. I think he's going to weather the early storm and then get a late knockout, maybe in the second or third round. So that's why I'm picking Jack Marshman. Next, we got Vicente Luque versus Nico Price, and to me, Nico Price is really good, but I still feel like, to me, that Alex Morona fight just stands out a whole lot because he's just getting the shit kicked out of him that whole fight, and then he got lucky and came back with a punch at the end of the second. And to me, Vicente Luque, I feel like he's probably got, not maybe as technical as Alex Morona is, but I think he's got more power in his hands. And I feel like both these guys have really good chins, but I feel like Vicente's going to have just the better hands, and he's got the better grappling overall, in my opinion, too. So I think if this does hit the ground, Vicente's going to have the advantage. So I'm going to pick Vicente. I say he wins by knockout or maybe a submission. Next is John Lineker versus Marlon Vera. And, ups to Marlon Vera for taking this fight, but I think John Lineker is way too good. I think that unless Marlon Vera can, rush him somehow and, jump on his back or, pull him into his guard, I don't see him taking him down with, a regular double leg, and there's no way he's going to fucking stand with him. He throws decent kicks, but I feel like John Lineker is going to be able to walk through that and hit the big punches. That's why I feel like Marlon Vera has a chance if he can get this to the ground, but I just don't see it. I think John Lineker is going to win by knockout and probably in the first round. Next is Thiago Santos versus Jack Hermansson, and to me, Jack Hermansson is pretty one-dimensional. I feel like when he's a good wrestler with good ground and pound, and that's about it. I feel like his striking and his ground game off of his back are just okay at best. I feel like he's not going to be able to take Santos down at will. I think Santos has too good takedown defense, and I think Santos is either going to, just play it safe probably and just win a pretty clear-cut 30-27 decision. He's just going to stuff the takedowns and outstrike him for 3 rounds. Next is Francisco Trinaldo versus Jim Miller, and this is tough because I feel like if Trinaldo can really light Miller up early, he'll probably win by knockout in the first. But I think if Miller can keep up a high pace and land a lot of leg kicks, I think his conditioning is a lot better, and I think he could finish Trinaldo in the second or third. I think this fight's really close, and it's one of those things where it could go either way. Jim Miller's looked really good recently. I know he was sick for a long time. His last 5 fights, he's looked phenomenal. Even though he's lost a couple of those fights, I feel like he was fighting top 10 guys, and he's looking really good against guys who are in the top 10. So I feel like I said, I think what's going to happen is Jim Miller's going to survive the first. The second's going to be close, and I think the third, Jim Miller's going to eventually get Francisco Trinaldo's back, and when he does, he's probably going to win by rear naked choke. Next is Pedro Mahuez versus Rob Font, and to me, Mahuez is not as impressive as of late. I feel like his striking he's willing to strike, but it doesn't get much better. I feel like he does one thing really good, and he's really good at hitting that guillotine. He's probably the best in the UFC at it right now. I feel like we saw in that fight against Russell Doane, Russell Doane was lighting the shit out of him, and then, Russell Doane went for that takedown for no reason and got caught in the guillotine. I feel like Rob Font's a much better striker and has better takedown defense than Russell Doane does. I feel like he's not going to fall into that trap. He's not going to get caught in the guillotine. I think he's going to do what Russ did, throw nice long straight punches, clip Pedro, and eventually get the knockout punch. So I've got Rob Font, and I think it's going to be either first or second round KO for him. Next is Damian Maia versus Colby Covington, and to me this matchup is perfect for Damian Maia, because Colby Covington, the only way he fights is he likes to grapple with people. He likes to clinch with them, and to me it's like if you're going to be that close to Damian Maia, you're basically touching the fire at that point. I feel like Colby Covington's been taken down before. He's just really good at scrambling back up, but that's against guys that were not as good as Damian Maia on the ground. I feel like if he gets taken down by Damian Maia, that's probably the beginning of the end. I mean, I've seen Colby Covington almost get submitted by, Mike Pyle. Mike Pyle was really close, and he got submitted by, I can't remember. He just fought last week, but you know who I'm talking about. Damian Maia, like I said, I think sooner or later they're going to be grappling against the fence, and Damian Maia is going to hit an inside trip, because the way Colby Covington likes to hold on to people, I feel like those trips are there if you're good at them, and I think Damian Maia is good at any type of sweep on the inside. So I think this fight's going to hit the ground sooner or later, and when it does, Maia's going to be the much better grappler, and he's eventually going to take Covington's back and win by rear naked choke. Finally, we got Derek Brunson versus Lyoto Machida, and this is tough because I don't know how good Machida's going to look because he's been gone for so long, and he's getting up there in age, so I have no idea how much traction he's got left in his career. But if he's at least close to how he used to be, I feel like he should be able to win this fight. I think he can dance around on the outside, and when Derek Lewis tries to throw those long shots, Machida's going to time him and hit him with a counter. Like I said, that's if he still has anything left in the tank. You never know at 39, and he's coming off a couple of losses. He could be at the end of his career, and he's just trying to see if he still has it. I'm going to go with Machida just because I'm hoping he's still as good as he used to be, but you never know. I feel like if Derek Brunson really wants to, he should be able to take this fight to the ground unless Machida's really gotten better at it. And that's what this fight's going to come down to. If Machida can stuff those takedowns, I think he's going to win by knockout. And that's what I'm going to go with. I think Machida's going to find his range and probably win by second round KO. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.